Social media, Twitter specifically, flipping out over a viral video going around of actor and comedian Roseanne Barr, who appears to be engaging in really overt Holocaust denial, so she's being attacked for that. But we just went and watched the entire clip, and this is such a clear case of misleading context being used to smear someone unfairly.
Yeah, my former colleagues at Jelani flagged this for us. He wrote on Twitter, this needs a community note. Roseanne is Jewish. 2, she's referencing a debate about censorship, not what she believes. And 3, why do people feel okay being so misleading on this website?
So we're going to play some of this clip with more of that conversation that's then has been on social media so that you can see the full context.
There's always been a ceiling on speech, hasn't there, in a way?
Of course, nobody wants to hear the real truth. They're horrified of it. They'd rather go with it's easier.
And
like for the real truth that, and I'm glad that they did set up all these guidelines so that we only are allowed to speak the truth. And the truth is that Biden got 81 million votes by winning 36 counties. And that is just incredible. It really, really is. And that of these 81 million supporters who gave him more votes than any president has ever gotten before. He came with a mandate from these 81 million voters. And, I'm just glad that they were very careful to make sure that nobody could detract from that proven truth. You know what I mean?
Like, what do you mean? Like that nobody...
That they mandated that was the truth and that nobody could say, well, what about no?
Oh, it was made a mandate?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. So the government made it a mandate?
Yeah, because, YouTube did, and so did all the social...
Oh, so you can't speak? You can't even speak on that in those platforms?
No, you can't say,
That it wasn't? You
can't say that, like,
the election was rigged?
Yeah,
right.
That's all a lie. The election was not rigged. 36 counties can give you 81 million votes.
Right.
That's a fact.
So it wasn't rigged?
Of course not.
Yeah.
36 counties have 81 million people in them.
Yeah.
See? That's the truth. And don't you dare say anything against it or you'll be off YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all the other ones because we have, there's such a thing as the truth and facts and we have to stick to it. And,
It's scary.
And that is the truth. And nobody died in the Holocaust either.
No.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
It should happen. 6 million Jews should die right now because they cause all the problems in the world, but it never happened. But it never happened.
Yeah.
Mandated.
Well, because you're part Jewish, right? Part of your family's Jewish?
So a couple clarifications there. So the version going on social media starts where just she makes the comment that the Holocaust never happened.
Right.
If you're
it's just
seeing
that.
That's what is going around, and people are saying, "Oh my God, how could she say this?" If you watch the full clip, she's clearly making a point about what you're allowed to say about the election. To be clear, I don't think the election was stolen.
She is doing election denialism.
Yes.
She is not doing Holocaust denialism. So she's trying to make this point that social media doesn't allow you to question the outcomes of the election or your videos will get censored, et cetera. And in making that point, she is saying, ironically, pointing out that she thinks there's some inconsistency between Biden having won a historically low number of voting of counties, despite winning a historically high number of votes in the raw number. And of course, the reason for that is that some counties, like Hawaii's Kalawao County has 88 residents versus LA County has 10 million residents. So you can win a small number of a small number of counties and still get the popular vote, which is what happened with Joe Biden. To be clear, Joe Biden did win the election. But what she's saying is a series of things that she believes to be untrue, but framing them as obviously true things to make the point that there are some things that you can't say out loud, but which are obviously true. So by saying the Holocaust didn't happen, she really does mean the Holocaust did happen. In the same way that saying Biden won, she's trying to point out that Biden didn't win in her opinion, which I do not agree with.
Right. She's pointing out that social media will not take down a video for you saying what you said, what she said there about the Holocaust, but will, or at least until YouTube actually very recently, like last week or 2 weeks ago, changed their rules about alleged election misinformation. But prior to that, you could not say you could not say things that, again, we think are not true about the election. They would take that content down, but they will not retaliate for, viciously, wildly untrue things like that the Holocaust didn't happen, or that and that if it didn't, it should have happened. So, she is being dragged all over social media.
Yeah.
This just shows the power of clipping things and how, because people are responding to this without any, again, because you have to watch the full. You didn't even have to watch the full video. You just have to watch that 3 minutes there that we played.
Right.
But the version going on Twitter just starts with the comment about the Holocaust.
Right. And, it is a usual suspects of a lot of, liberal tweeters who, for them, this is confirmation bias. She's someone who has said supportive things about Donald Trump. Her politics have been all over the place over the years. But because she is perceived as being solidly on the bad side of things, they want anything that confirms their bias against her. And they're willing to overlook things like the fact that she is a daughter of 2 Jewish immigrants. And it complicates the story at the very least. Now, of course, you can, I guess, technically be Jewish and a Holocaust denier, but it might, for many people, raise a little bit of a flag saying, let me investigate this farther, if it's not so conveniently confirming all of your priors to ignore that.
Yeah, Brian Krasenstein, one of the Krasenstein brothers, who I think we all remember what they're up to, says, well, I don't often call for the canceling of anyone. Yeah, I'm sure you don't. I think it rarely serves a purpose. But when she got in front of an audience and said, what she said there, I will happily call for Roseanne Barr to be canceled. Then he has texted her words. Again, just you didn't watch the thing, man. You clearly didn't watch the full thing.
Yeah. Well, many thanks to Zed Jelani for flagging this and
doing
trying
the actual
to
work.
Push back a little bit.
Again, you don't have to like her. You can think she says kooky things all the time. I certainly
like
do.
the election denialism. That's in the same
and sometimes she's straddling the line between saying what she really thinks and saying things that she probably knows are crazy because it's part of her presentation as a kind of believer in kook things, as part of her shtick and her comedy, and some of it's performative, some of it's not. That whole thing. But okay, here she is clearly not actually making the allegation she's being accused of making.
Yeah,
and it's very unfair, and people need to, and the same people who will say that misinformation is so pervasive and you're idiots, conservatives, conspiracy theorists, contrarian, are so misinformed and so idiotic and they'll fall for every last crazy thing somebody says. Those people are just as gullible when they're served up something like this.
Right,
when they're served up a brief misleading clip of someone they're inclined to despise or think is a kook saying something insane, they don't need any additional verification.
Yeah, maybe this is an argument for, not content moderation, but having those
the community notes are great.
Feature is really helpful here. And also, of course, it's worth noting that, of course, at minimum, 6 million people died horrifically and tragically in the Holocaust. Those are among the more conservative estimates of deaths of Jewish people in that particular genocide. And Holocaust denialism is not on the table in Roseanne Barr's clip, or generally speaking in the context of this show.
For sure.
More Rising for you right after this.